The seven deadly sins and the seven holy virtues, the dividing line between these two being worldly desires and self righteousness. I'm going to go over all the sins and the seven virtues that you must follow to counteract those sins to lead a better life and one of progress. Number one is going to be the sin of pride. It's a deceptive emotion that is going to ruin your relationship with God and hinder your relationships with other people. It's an excessive belief in your own abilities, your accomplishments, and your importance to other people. Pride will lead to an arrogant and self centered attitude. Pride leads to an inflated sense of superiority and the unwillingness to admit mistakes when you make them, especially when they need correction. This can only lead to the destruction of your progress and of yourself. Having an ego full of pride is devastating, as you can tell from this alone. But the counterpart to pride is the heavenly virtue of humility. Humility is not disregarding yourself. Rather, what humility is increasing the regard that you have for others. Being humble means being free of pride and arrogance, and it gives you inner knowledge that you don't have to show the whole world that you're great. Rather, you can simply be great. The reason being humble is important for self improvement is the saying, all talk and no action. When you're full of pride, you become a talker, someone who only says what they want to do but never ends up doing it. Versus someone who is humble will be a doer, someone who will actually act upon the things that they want to do without letting the whole world know. Number two is the sin of envy. Now, envy in a perfect world should be the guiding line that teaches what we should do in our lives, but rather, it's a graceless emotion full of jealousy. Envy is understanding that you're imperfect and someone else has what is perfect. While aiming to get the thing that made you feel so imperfect, you end up becoming jealous and destroying everything and everyone around you since nothing at that moment matters to you, only to find out once you do have it, it isn't what you completely thought it out to be. This sin destroys self improvement progress because rather than aiming for a goal and earning it the correct way, you become jealous, so you just cheat. Or in worst cases, you might fake that you've already accomplished that goal already. Now you have fallen to the sin of envy, but its counterpart is the heavenly virtue of admiration, and it is arguably the most important one for your life. Being able to admire someone without being envious of them sets the stepping stone for real progress to be made. Real progress is made when you understand that someone else is better than you at that. But rather than getting angry or upset, you decide to learn from them. Being able to acknowledge your failures opens up countless possibilities that can only lead to your progress. Number three is the sin of wrath. You know, the mean and angry things we say when we're upset that we rarely ever truly mean? They're the direct result of panic and anxiety. This panic and anxiety causes you to lash out verbally or physically, and not only causing harm to others, but yourself more. This blocks all self improvement progress, as you have now taken a step away from mental clarity and have chosen to destroy something valuable. The counterpart to this is the heavenly virtue of patience, which involves consistently working towards your goals, enduring trials, and awaiting results regardless of how long it takes without getting angry or upset. Patience and perseverance gets rid of all anxiety and fear, teaching you to only focus on becoming a better version of yourself, regardless of how long it's going to take. Number four is the sin of gluttony. When you eat too many wings or you have too many chips, it's not because you're greedy, it's rather you're emotionally starving. You want love far more than you want calories. You just don't know where to find it or how to find it. This leads to you losing your way of life, losing the drive for improvement, and losing your progress. To counteract gluttony, it isn't to fast or go on a diet like most people say. Rather, it's the heavenly virtue of temperance. Temperance, which is often characterized as emotional restraint or self discipline, is really just moderating your desires, moderating your emotion, and most of all, moderating your attitude. Temperance is a heavenly virtue for the reason that it lets you know when you have had enough of one thing and it's time to move on to the next thing that is better. This is a direct example of discipline. Having the ability to say no to a desire will only increase your mental capacity and therefore give you a better willpower in return. Number 5 is the sin of lust. When you want to keep jumping into bed with people, when you want to keep doing immoral things, it's not out of degeneracy, rather, it's because you're lonely. Lust in the modern day is seen as the epitome of connections that someone can go through. However, that's far from it. The so-called bad or adultery-like things that we crave is only because we read them as proof that someone else is giving us their affection. This directly blocks self-improvement as it leads one to become delusional about an internal issue. How can you improve personally when you are so full of this sin? However, there is a savior, the counterpart to this being the heavenly virtue of chastity. Chastity, also known as the quality of being pure and refraining from immoral or adult-like activities, is a great stepping stone toward improvement, as lust is the easiest sin to fall into. Being chastous and being pure means you are being goal-orientated and ignoring the outside distractions that want to destroy the progress that you have made so far. Number 6 is the sin of sloth. Rather, being lazy means you're fearful and you're scared of something. You don't want to work hard or work on something because if you don't succeed in it or it isn't good enough, you have the fear of being humiliated by it. You might not succeed as well as you wanted to. You might find the task too hard. You might realize you don't have the right tools at your disposal. You might realize you don't want other people to look at what you've done in fear of being humiliated. This is nothing but a self-distraction to completely stop all progress towards whatever your end goal is. The opposite of sloth is the heavenly virtue of diligence. We first become diligent when the fear of doing nothing at all beats the fear of doing something badly. Diligence is going the distance to accomplish something, regardless of what obstacles are in your way. If there's work to be done, you will do your best to get it done properly. Diligence is often attributed to someone with good discipline or improvement. Number 7 is the sin of greed. The urge to take more than your fair share is really the feeling of deprivation. You have felt so neglected and so vulnerable that you take more of something in order to mask the feeling of deprivation. This fear lies so deep you try to keep it at bay by grabbing what you want as quickly and as fast as possible. To others, it seems that you're privileged or jealous, but when the underlying feeling is desperation. This sin blocks self-improvement as you hyper-focus on the wrong areas of your life. The counterpart to this is the heavenly virtue of charity, and it's the willingness or even desire to give someone something or to better the world regardless of what happens to oneself. Right now, it sounds kind of bad, but it still teaches us something about self-improvement. When we give to others out of our own abundance or out of charity, it teaches us to let go of things that we don't really need in our lives, which will only increase your mental capacity. It shows you to be thankful for what you truly own, and to truly be thankful for what others don't have, and to give to those that need the aid. Now, this was the 7 heavenly virtues that will help self-improvement go a lot easier. If you liked the video or found something valuable in the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. That's it for me though, fellas. Peace out.